Months after his tragic suicide, doctors discovered Dallas Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Kneeland had early stages of a chronic brain disease. I'm Clarice Tinsley. The diagnosis is bringing more attention to the risks of concussions and head injuries among athletes. Fox 4's Alex Boyer joins us with a breakdown of the findings. Alex.
Hi, Clarice. You know, Kneeland's family as well as girlfriend made that joint decision to make those results public. They say they're doing so in an effort to raise awareness about the cause and dangers of progressive brain disease. Now, you may recall that Marshawn Kneeland was just 24 years old when he died by suicide back in November of last year. It happened in a series of events, including a welfare check to his apartment in Plano. Kneeland was not there when police arrived. Now, during that time frame, Texas DPS troopers attempted to stop his vehicle for a traffic violation on Dallas North Tollway near Keller Springs Boulevard. That led to a police pursuit. His vehicle was later found abandoned. During the search, officers were told Kneeland had expressed suicidal ideations. Kneeland was eventually found dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Now, following his death, Kneeland's loved ones donated his brain to science, and a post-mortem brain tissue analysis was done through the Concussion and CTE Foundation, as well as researchers at Boston University CTE Center, and they diagnosed Kneeland with stage 1 of 4 of CTE.
CTE stands for chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It's a degenerative brain disease that is caused by repeated hits to the head. And it's caused not just by concussions, but by the accumulation of hundreds or thousands of hits over a lifetime. But what we know about the disease is that in 90% of cases, it will continue to progress after you stop getting hit in the head. And eventually, after it's progressed far enough, you can develop dementia. CTE is known to cause progressive cognitive symptoms. It's also believed to cause neurobehavioral dysregulation and changes how people behave. So we have a lot to learn about how it affects people on an individual level.
So Kneeland played 2 seasons with the Cowboys. After 4 years at Western Michigan University, he started playing tackle football at the age of 7. Now, in a joint statement, Kneeland's family and former girlfriend said, while this diagnosis does not change the tragedy of his passing, it provides important context about some of the struggles that he may have been facing. We share this information to help people understand what NFL and other high-contact sport athletes might be struggling with. Raising awareness is important to us. We continue to remember Marshawn with compassion for the person he was, rather than defining him by the final moments of his life. One love. Now, Dr. Nowinski also noted that suicide is a complex and multifactorial. He also added that post-mortem CTE diagnosis should not be considered the cause of suicide, and also noted that a CTE is not known to be a risk factor for suicide.